We are back with a vitamin B12 extra dose. What we're going to do here is we're going to take about 5 to 10 minutes and just recap the quick Baylor game, the Baylor TCU game, which was ridiculous last night. We're going to talk about OSU, OU today, and then we're going to just jump off here. And this is just going to be like a little special extra thing that we hopefully throw out once every once in a while, but it's going to be quick, and we won't take up too much of your time. So let's start the timer now. So first question, or first topic, Baylor TCU. Let's talk about that. How ridiculous was that finish?
Well, yeah, that was pretty insane for the fact that they simply could not move the ball. Two of the best offenses ever. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous, but statistically, I mean, Baylor and TCU at some point in the season was on pace to be some of the best ever statistically,
Yeah.
and they literally could not move the ball past the 50-yard line. Like it was like if we were one of them was hoping for a muff punt so that you could get in field goal range, but like it was the Baylor quarterback ended with like 62 yards passing. It's got to be frustrating, but you know what? That's football. Everybody's playing on the same field, and you got to find a way to win when you don't have, your pass, right? When you don't have the things that you can do. But they can run, they can do anything. So
Yeah.
the fact that it ended in overtime and then it just kept going and they were scoring, it was pretty insane. It's stopping them on fourth down, just awesome.
Yeah, it was. On that note, what was it? Something like, and I'm sure Trevon Boykin didn't have a great completion percentage either in the second half, but I think Chris Johnson didn't make a completion, not a single completion until overtime, until that pass or whatever he did to Chafin, or I don't remember quite who it was, but it's just insane to think that. I mean, I know the conditions were pretty bad, but even a little screen pass, like to not see that at all. I mean, it was just something. And
Yeah, his stats were over in the second half, and it was but the thing about that I don't like about it is people are saying, "Oh, this is Baylor's worst outing since 2000 whatever," but the conditions were awful. Like, talk to me about that stat when it's like 60 and clear, and you're just
they just proved that they can play Big Ten ball. That's all they did.
Yeah. So what does this mean for the Oklahoma State Oklahoma game today?
Well, now we're playing for the Big 12 title, right? So because Baylor lost, now they're 2 loss. TCU's 2 loss. Now OU and OSU are 1 loss, and whoever wins this more or less wins the Big 12. Period. Right? Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, it is.
So,
this is it.
Yeah. So, and on top of that, obviously, college football playoffs. Now we can go in at length on our next show about why if OSU wins, they're out, and if OU wins, they're in, with the comparable losses not being comparable. But I think we'll save that to the next show. But, hey, our goal is to win the Big 12 every year, and we're in a spot to do that today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if OSU wins, does OSU get in?
No. I'm going to say no.
You're going to say no.
I don't have enough faith in the College Football Playoff Committee. I think they'll find a way. I don't think there's going to be enough chaos for them to justify a one-loss Big 12 champ, OSU anyway. If it were OU, different story, over a 2-loss Notre Dame or Stanford or whoever wins that game. So I think we get left out again. I think it's 2011 all over again, and OSU causes more controversy yet again for being left out, and we are forever the bridesmaid.
I'm gonna say that we get in because some things are gonna have to happen, and some the Big Ten's gonna implode, and Notre Dame, Stanford's gonna do something funny, and we're going to somehow, if we win, we're gonna get in because they're not gonna screw us twice. So somebody somewhere is gonna say, you know what, guys, we got to give these guys a chance because in 2011 they could have won a national championship based on how LSU played, blah blah blah. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna have orange-colored glasses on for a second and say that if we win, we get in.
So chaos reigns supreme for you, EJ. Garrett, who is our biggest threat to get in, or who gets in besides us if we win?
I think it's the winner of Notre Dame Stanford, assuming this is a big assumption that Stanford doesn't drop the Pac-12 championship. I think the winner of that game gets in ahead of us. I think if Notre Dame wins against Stanford, they're absolutely ahead of us, absolutely, just because they're Notre Dame. But if Stanford does, then maybe there's a little more controversy, maybe not. Maybe there's a chance, but I think either way, the winner of that gets in ahead of us.
Yeah, so chaos reigns supreme for you, EJ. Who could slide in with Notre Dame being a brand? Who could slide in besides Oklahoma State, even if we win?
Yeah, I mean, the Notre Dame thing is hard to argue with because they lost to Clemson by 2. Yeah, I think that's right. That's pretty tough to argue with. Now, I believe Clemson is overranked, so overrated, I should say. Not that they're not awesome and haven't proven it, but they beat Wake Forest 33-13. That's not exactly a barn burner for Wake Forest, who isn't even really a basketball school anymore. So it just, the quality loss they have is against the number one team, but I don't think the number one team is as good as everybody said because they haven't really played anybody outside Florida State. I mean, it's all one of those things, right? You're comparing them to who they've played, and it gets kind of tough at some point. Yes, they keep winning, but I think when you start playing against big boy teams in the college playoff, I think, I'm not sure Clemson's going to win it all, meaning I'm not sure they belong. Now, am I saying OSU belongs? I'm not necessarily saying that either, but I want them to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So College Game Day was in Stillwater for the Oklahoma State Oklahoma game. Big crowd turnout despite it is freezing and raining outside my house right now, and I'm in Tulsa, so I imagine it's even worse in Stillwater. As we wrap this thing up, and we are about done, what was your favorite College Game Day sign?
Garrett, go ahead.
So I didn't catch a whole lot of signs, but I think my favorite one I saw, and it was even floating around Facebook and Twitter, but it had Nick Cage, and I'm a sucker for anything Nick Cage, but it had Nick Cage essentially dressed as Bob Stoops or in an OU uniform at a press conference or something like that, and it says, "We steal the national championship." And I think that's just so funny on so many levels because don't put it past the land thieves to steal a national championship.
Yeah. I think the best one I had, which is funny because he's been on the news lately saying his Mayfield. If you don't know, he's actually dating a ex soccer player from OSU, but the sign said even Baker Mayfield won't date OU girls. So that's pretty awesome right there.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
All right, so we are just over 5 minutes. We're going to take off. Go Pokes today. Hope we win. Hopefully the Big 12 does get in no matter what, though. Thank you guys for joining us. Yep.
Yeah, TCU put the ball in motion for OSU, so let's take the bull by the horns. Let's do it.
Thank you. Let's have a moment for TCU. We appreciate you for coming out on top in the crazy mess. And hey, actually, let's give it up for the TCU dance team, who it was in the mid-30s, raining, and they didn't have any pants on, basically. They were still in their short shorts. So
they didn't have any
heroes.
pants on. There'll probably be a few people like that today at today's game without pants on.
Yep. All right, thanks. As always, EJ Hayes, Garrett Sauls, I'm Chris Armstrong. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
See you.
Later.